I'm Russell Beard in South Spain to visit a truly sustainable fish farm.
I'm Omar Khalifa in the Philippines, where an iconic form of transport is about to clean up its act.
I'm Tamara Sheward in Australia's Dairy Heartland, where an unusual solution is helping put a cork in greenhouse gas emissions.
And I'm Joyce O'Harder in Gloucestershire, England, to find out how the Eurasian Crane is being brought back to Britain.
Decades of industrial fishing have decimated wild fish stocks, and fish farming is increasingly important to meet global demand. But fish farms still use wild-caught fish as feed, and the density of their stocks heavily pollutes surrounding waters. However, a new model of fish farming not only avoids negative impact, but can actually enhance environmental value.
I'm Russell Beard and I've come to Veta La Palma in South Spain to see what truly sustainable fish farming looks like. Okay, it's pretty early, but we've come to meet Miguel. He's the head biologist here. Miguel, how are you?
How are you?
Thanks for coming out. Good morning.
Good morning. Many people say that aquaculture is actually a non-sustainable activity, and we try to make aquaculture really sustainable here. And look at that. Our fish eat on shrimp, birds eat on shrimp, and we have still shrimp for selling. So the production is huge. We don't feed the fish using the commercial diet that are made from fish that you catch in the wild. You cannot talk about sustainability when you are feeding your fish from fish that you catch from the sea. Exactly.
And you don't do that. You don't have to.
The key to Veta La Palma's sustainability is the nutrient-rich river water that's pumped around its 8,000-acre network of shallow ponds. Combined with sunlight, this encourages the growth of photosynthetic algae and plankton, the main food source for shrimp and other crustaceans. The fish eat the shrimp, and we eat the fish.
So let's go and meet some of the predators. Wow.
Look at especially the color.
Oh my God, man, these are huge.
The color is talking us about the density. When you see one sea bass the same size coming from the conventional aquaculture, it usually is very, very dark.
Why don't you grow them at this kind of density? Presumably it'd be better for your business.
Because we will have to face the usual diseases that are all the time smashing conventional aquaculture, especially in the Mediterranean. So this is the kind of density and the kind of cultivation that we consider is the better for this kind of ecosystem. Low density and the natural diet are probably the two main differences between this farm and the conventional fish farming.
One of three things is going to happen here. One is I'm going to have a perfect cast. The second one is I'm going to completely mess it up. And the third one is I'm actually going to fall in the water. Sticks! A bag of sticks. Okay. All right, okay, one more time. Oh, that felt better. Hey! That's right. Any? More sticks! Damn it. Okay, so I understand there's a skill to this, you know?
This is very good. You do it very good. If you need a position of fisherman here, I have one for you.
Yeah, that was good. Yes. Oh, man. Nice work. Good work. Yes, yes.
Inside the water, we have fish, a business, but you see the added value. And this is very, very important and the main difference of Veta La Palma. Look at there. That's white and pinkish spot. It's a very big flock of flamingos. It is amazing, really.
There's millions of birds.
Exactly.
I mean, come on.
More than 40,000 ducks only in this pond. Anyone considers that the birds, for example, are the traditional enemy of the fish farmer because many birds eat on fish. But for us, for example, the flamingos, they are moving nutriment, moving the energy, so they are contributing to the quality of the water. They take the pink color from the carotenoid pigments that are in the shrimps, larvae, and some other organisms from the zooplankton.
So with them being here, you know that that kind of microalgae, that microfauna is present, which is good for them and good for the fish.
Exactly. This is a very big indicator that the health of the water is very good for the business.
So you're really kind of working with relationships here. You're taking nature's lead.
You can even say that I am more expert on ecological relationships than on aquaculture.
I mean, it's very easy to forget when you're surrounded by such beauty, such open space, you can hear the birds there on the horizon, that ultimately, this is still about food. Yeah, I can smell it from here. Do you think it's important to your customers that they understand about this new model of fish farming?
Last years, people is changing pretty fast. It's not just eating. It's enjoying, thinking about, it's a war.
So, but this is something they can really get their teeth into. Excuse the pun. Yeah. Really good.
Can I try it?
Really good.
Yeah, please.
I mean, at the end of the day, this tastes beautiful. Why do you think it's important to bring ecology back into our food chain?
The wild stock of fish, they are disappearing. But our appetite for fish is increasing, especially if you consider China, India, all these kind of countries. So we need to give them an alternative. We have to try new business model integrated in nature. We can even say that this farm, for example, is a center of production of microalgae. And our fish is like a subproduct.
It's just one part of
One part of a whole, of a natural whole. This is a model for the future. This is a model for the future of this land and of the people of this land.
Tricycles are a national phenomenon in the Philippines. There are over 3.5 million of them across the country. But as fun and effective as they are, they churn out over 10 million tons of carbon dioxide each year. I'm Omar Khalifa in the Philippines, where one scheme is striving to make tricycle pollution a thing of the past. The Philippines spends over $1 billion a year on trying to find a solution to its horrendous air pollution levels. Emissions from the transport sector alone amount to 1/3 of the country's pollution.
About 80% of Metro Manila's air pollution is caused by vehicle emissions. And a lot of the vehicle emissions is coming from outdated public transport, from motorized tricycles, from jeepneys, from buses, and therefore replacing these outdated public transport with more modern, fuel-efficient, and environment-friendly options is a central part of tackling air pollution in the Philippines.
On a quest to find out greener alternatives, the Asian Development Bank is piloting one potential solution: tricycles that run on not petrol, but electricity. The government wants to bring in more than 5 million electric tricycles across the country in the next 10 years, 3 million of which will be in the capital, Manila. So how many tricycles are there in Metro Manila right now?
I think we have about 200,000 tricycles here in Metro Manila.
What's the benefit of an e-trike over an old traditional tricycle?
There are many advantages of this e-trike. First, they don't need gasoline. Second, no pollution, zero emission. As of now, we have 20 e-trikes granted by the ADB.
Well, I'm dying to get into one of these things, so should we take a ride?
Yes, you can. Yes, this is Mr. Leon Conson, one of our drivers.
Nice to meet you, Leon.
He is the best driver I've I've got. If you want, you can ride with him, or if you want, you can test it yourself.
I drive it myself.
Yes, if you want. It's
Seems
very easy to drive.
Okay. Over 100 kilometers, a regular trike needs about $6 of petrol, but an e-trike needs only $1 worth of charging time to take it the same distance. That's a saving of $5, doubling what most trike drivers earn in a day. Are you nervous with my driving?
Yes.
Okay, let's see if they're interested in driving the e-trike. Any passengers? Ate,
E-trike, sakay, okay.
Welcome to the e-trike. Let's go. So, is this your first time in an e-trike?
Yeah.
What do you like about it?
I like to ride.
Yeah?
Nice to ride.
Portable.
Because it's portable and
It's very smooth.
Okay, Ate, Kuya, we've arrived at your destination. Today it's free because the driving was so bad.
Salamat, pe.
Salamat, thank you so much. Kuya Leon, thank you so much for letting me drive your e-trike.
Are you okay, mate? Drive?
It was a great experience, thank you. Silver.
Hi, Omar.
How's it going?
Good, good.
So, I'm fascinated to learn about how these e-trikes are charged, how they work, and how efficient they are.
Okay. So what we have here is a trike being charged with an onboard charger.
Okay.
So from the outlet, you have an AC current going through the charger, then converted to DC to charge the battery.
So the motor's in the back of the car.
Yes.
Well, I call it a car, but really it's an e-trike.
Yes, it's an
a three-wheel machine.
Yes.
Wherever you are, if you're low on power, you can just plug in and power up. What's more, a 1-hour charge can give you almost 10 hours of driving time. What's that fluid there? It's not petrol, surely. It's
No.
not cheating.
No, that's brake fluid.
Okay.
Because you need hydraulic brakes for the rear. This is the fuel gauge. So you have here 10 LEDs that will tell you how much juice you still have in your battery. So,
How does it differ to a normal tricycle?
well, first of all, you don't have any petrol to deal with. It has very few parts to work with. It has no smoke, no noise, and very simple to run.
While the capital costs of buying an e-trike are initially higher, the operating costs are substantially lower, and the environmental gains are huge. The success of the e-trike project is down to this man.
What we're trying to do, bring that technology, the same technology with lithium-ion battery, to the very poor here, to the base of the pyramid.
The rollout of more e-trikes, how will this affect the streets of Manila?
Well, I mean, as a starting position, it will be at least much quieter because electric tricycle will not make any noise because there will be no engine running.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we will see cleaner sky. So in 2 years' time, in the entire country, possibly there will be about 10,000 to 20,000 tricycles implemented, running all over. There will be public charging station. There will be access these drivers to have lithium-ion battery as a swapping to charge. And then we will have a successful project that we can replicate in other countries.
Flatulent burping cows have become comic relief in the global warming debate, but livestock emissions are no laughing matter. Every year, the world's cattle belch out 80 million tons of methane, a greenhouse gas far more potent than carbon dioxide. I'm Tamara Schuard in Australia, where a resident 29 million cattle help make this country one of the world's worst per capita methane polluters. But there's a change in the wind. Just an hour southeast of Melbourne is the heart of Victoria's lush dairy belt. Almost a quarter of all milk drunk by Australians comes from this region. I'm on my way to meet senior dairy scientist Dr. Peter Mort at Victoria's Ellenbank Research Centre. Hi, Peter.
Hello, Tamara.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Come this way and I'll show you something interesting.
Oh, okay. I like interesting.
My research in particular is aimed at methane abatement, reducing the amount of methane gas dairy cows produce. This actually is a real cow's stomach. Could you help me with this?
Yeah, sure. So this is
a real stomach
of a cow.
It's been fiberglassed. It's about 120 litres. When the cow eats her food, it goes into this first stomach, the rumen, and this rumen acts as a fermentation vat and produce waste products, carbon dioxide and methane. Methane is about 21 times more potent than carbon dioxide as a greenhouse gas.
Methane emissions are an increasingly serious problem, and Peter's team of scientists have been busy with the unenviable task of assessing the farts and burps created by the resident herd of cows.
And we can go in and see these cows. This one's Mona.
Mona.
Because she makes moaning noises sometimes.
Hey, Mona.
And
She's not very social, is she?
Mona has on her collar some brass cylinders, and the cylinders are connected to a capillary tube to just above the nose, and it's collecting exhalations or burps that the cow is making. Then we can calculate the daily emission of methane.
By closely monitoring the emissions from these cows, Peter can determine the impact that their diet has on the amount of methane they produce. In their most successful experiment, Peter fed the cattle with grape marc, the skins, seeds and stems left over from red wine production.
Smell it. It smells like vinegar.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
It was a big surprise to us. We got a 20% reduction in the methane emissions. They reduced from 500 grams a day down to 400 grams a day. So that's a big reduction.
That's huge, actually, isn't it?
Yes, certainly. There's about 1 million dairy cows in Australia, and if we were able to feed grape marc to all of those cows, that would be equivalent to taking about 200,000 cars off the road.
200,000 cars. And this is in 1 year?
Yes.
Wow, that's astonishing. Grape marc appears to have some real potential for reducing methane emissions. But is there a sustainable supply of the stuff?
Welcome to Wild Dog Winery.
Thank you very much.
Come for a look. The bunch is just starting to form, so.
Right, and this is Shiraz.
That's Shiraz.
So once they are harvested, after you're making the wine, you do have this grape marc left over.
Yeah.
How much marc would you have for a winery your size?
About 15 tonnes.
What do you do with it? Because it is a bit of a waste product, isn't it?
Yeah, it tends to be a bit of a nuisance. We try to get it off the property or at least have it taken a fair way away. In the past, we have had farmers, local farmers, that come and collect it and take it away and basically feed it to their cows.
Using a waste product from one industry as a potential solution for another sounds too good to be true. How are you going?
Oh, good, thanks, good.
Great, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, down. Good boy.
Hello.
Good boy.
You have fed your cattle grape marc before.
Yes.
How did you come up with that idea?
Well, it all started out by accident, actually. With the drought, feed supplements are getting very expensive, so I decided, well, we have to do something about this, and chased around the local grapevines and come up with Wild Dog, and they kindly offered the grape marcs. The cattle started on it, and it was just all gone in a matter of minutes. So here we go. This is what they like.
Ooh, she just sucked that straight out of my hand like a vacuum cleaner. They're all coming in. They're smelling the grape lady. It's all right, please don't eat me.
Don't film us climbing over.
Oh, he will. I'm incredibly unco.
These cows are here to be milked at our dairy.
We've seen that the grape marc has had an amazing effect on methane emissions from cows, but what impact has it had on the quality of milk itself?
There's been a 6-fold increase in conjugated linoleic fatty acid, and that fatty acid is known to reduce the incidence of cancer, arthritis and diabetes.
Well, it definitely doesn't feel like an experiment or a science lab. This is just like being in a farm. I'm covered in milk. It stinks like cows. There's milk and all sorts of fluids flying everywhere. But really, we are standing in the middle of something that could revolutionize agriculture and with massive impacts for the environment.
Nearly 1.5 meters tall and with a wingspan over 2 meters wide, the Eurasian crane is one of the world's largest wetland birds. Formerly widespread, this iconic bird virtually disappeared from Britain around 400 years ago as a result of hunting and habitat loss.
I'm Joyce O'Haja at the Slimbridge Crane School in England, where they've created a unique breeding programme to bring back this iconic and flamboyant bird. Now, Amy King is part of the Crane School. Are you going to show us around?
Yeah, come on in.
Great, thank you.
The Slimbridge Wetland Centre is home to the world's largest collection of swans, geese and ducks. It's where the Eurasian crane chicks are reared as part of the Great Crane Project.
They're actually in this enclosure over here. It's quite a large enclosure. You can just see them standing, a couple of them standing over there. Yeah. So, and they are coming over to see what we're doing.
That's good.
These are what we wear when we're working with the birds.
Okay.
They just conceal the human form, and we don't want the birds to get too used to human presence.
The suits are twinned with artificial heads that keepers use to feed the chicks and to teach young cranes how to forage for food. It's crucial the young cranes learn how to behave as if they were in the wild and recognise and avoid predators. And it seems to be working.
We didn't have much luck, I'm afraid.
When we are rearing them in the suits with these heads and things, we want them to get to the stage where they are looking after themselves and they're not depending on their parents.
Yes.
And basically they see us as a sort of parental figure. Okay. So the behaviour they're kind of showing today is kind of a natural one, and it is what we wanted to achieve.
There's quite a small number here, and there are thousands of cranes in Europe.
Yeah.
They're not an endangered species, so why is it so important to bring the common crane back to Britain?
We think from having such a flagship sort of species that people really pay attention to, it will give us the ability to manage habitats which will benefit other species.
It's hoped a thriving crane population will engage the public and landowners with wetland renewal and conservation issues. We headed to the release programme to see how they were getting on.
Okay, well, we've arrived here in Somerset, and Damon Bridge, who's the project manager, is going to be showing us around, and we're hoping to see the birds in the wild.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Okay, let's go.
Each bird's got its own radio tag. This is bird number 28,
okay.
And as you come back, it increases, so
we need to be heading in that direction?
That's right.
So why is this a good area for the cranes?
Well, the levels of moors are really important for a number of reasons, but mainly they've got extensive areas of unimproved grassland, hay meadows, which are filled with insects, and those insects are a really important food source.
Well, you say they've been released into the wild, but this isn't really wild, is it?
No, I mean, it is a very man-managed landscape that's been tamed and drained over the years. Yeah. The cranes are actually over, see that line of trees in the distance? They're just over behind that line of trees.
Oh, I can't see anything.
There they come, a whole bunch of them flying just below the ridge there.
Oh, right.
You can see that the older ones in flight look much more silvery, less brown.
Are they the ones in front? Are they leading the way?
They're all a bit, yeah, they are mainly actually. They're a little bit mixed up. I think they're probably just moving field to go and feed somewhere else.
Okay, as far away from us as possible.
Yeah. They're not very sociable at the moment.
No.
We've trained them too well, I think.
Oh, well, we've tried. What can I say? So in the next few years, this will be a thriving wetlands environment.
Yes, yeah. It'd be wonderful to have cranes back as a breeding species after that 400-year absence, but they'll also attract all kinds of other native wildlife. There'll be real biodiversity hotspots within the landscape.
I mean, this is about as good as it gets for 2012, isn't it? I mean, how far are we? We're less than a mile away from the next destination.
That's right.
And these really aren't being changed at all. It's almost like you're making good use of the things that you find. You know, things that most everyday folks leave behind.